It's very unfair to, after all this fun and everything else, to put somebody on as the first speaker and then say, go and bore them. So you're going to have to bear with me for the next 15 minutes. I was called on about a week ago and said that you need to come in and make a presentation. I didn't know I was the first speaker in. I didn't know the house was going to be full of so many brilliant people here. So there are many, many familiar faces. A lot of friends of mine, a lot of new acquaintances. Welcome. Good morning. Just know that all of you, you've got a reputation to protect. A lot of you have got some fantastic work that you've done, so we're going to be hearing that. And a lot of you have actually set the benchmark of all the parties that have happened in the last 5-6 years of IMWF. So there have been some great stories from those parties as well, so please keep inspiring as well. So I'm here to learn as much from you guys. So can creativity beat the production budget? Of course it can. I mean, give us a few $1 million, who doesn't agree? Give us a few $1 million, see what we can do. I mean, we've got Food Links serving us outside. We'll get them on. They're not cheap, but we'll get them on. We've got some fantastic planners here. We'll get them on. We've got all you great designers from all over the world. We'll get you on. Of course, it's very easy. End of discussion. I mean, there's no problem. We can go ahead and cut it right there. But the fact is, I was told that no, it's not that easy. Go out, spend 15 minutes, and tell them your take on that. So, you know, I've always believed that this is a question every time I've been asked in a meeting. I've always found myself to be like that child. I hope my mom is not listening in, but I've always had that thing, you know, where they put you in the center, and then they ask you, okay, who do you love more? So you look at them and say, both. And that's exactly the question every time somebody's asked us, saying that, oh, you know, we want it all. We want fantastic, but we don't have the money. Those of you from India will possibly understand, and my friends from across the other parts of the world, I mean, you can give us your perspective as well, but I'm sure it happens. We've seen it. We worked in various places. Thank you. We've seen that, but it's exactly like that. It's like that child in the center. It's about sitting there and trying to understand, you know, which one is more important. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time today and try and recreate this with you. Let's define creativity. Now, the story of our lives, all right, like I just said, we go for a meeting, we have people come back and say, oh, you know, there's this big client, and we all get big clients, and we're going to go. So we go in for a meeting. We get a fantastic briefing. We come back. We conceptualize. We sit down and do these sessions with all our teams, and we go back with this really, really nice presentation. It's got videos. It's got creative. It's got all of that. And then it comes to that part where you say, all right, this is what's going to cost you, and that's when the expression changes, and that's when they say, you know what? I need you to go back to the table. So then the briefing changes again. And this is the life cycle. I think this is something that we keep doing that. So when this whole thing's happening, and about this debate, let's understand. A great man called Einstein once said, creativity is intelligence having fun. I'm going to show you a small clip. I've got nothing to do with this clip, except that I saw it many, many years ago. And then when I was told to do this, I took it out and showed it to you. I want you to see it. And let's just see, and then we'll come back to it. Can I have the sound up? So, you know, in our culture, from where 50% of this room comes, we're from India, right? And we've, you know, in our culture, for many, many centuries ago, we had these dudes who came down, and long before any of us or our ancestors were around, they came back and wrote these books. And these books went on to define everything that we do with our clients, without our clients, at home, everywhere, whatever you've seen in all these pictures that you saw of us with our families. everything's defined for us. It's very clear. You stick by these books, or at least we've been told that. Now, to get me out of harm's way, when I was much younger, my parents would send me off to my grandparents' place, and my grandmother ran a library. And she'd say that, you're not going to waste your time on a hot, sunny afternoon. You're going to come to the library, and you need to come in and read books. So I was like, all right, I'm going to come and read books. So I went one day with her, and I was trotted around, and I found this one book where I would see people going, and I went and followed, and I picked up this one book. And I came back, and I told her, I said, hey, I found a book. And she looked at it and said, not that book. That's not the book you're supposed to read at your age. So I said, oh, oops, okay, the wrong book. So I went back and got another book. Now, what I read in that book is something that has stuck with me, and I want to share with you today. It's written very simply. It just says that you are your deep driving desire. As is your desire, is your will. And as is your will, is your act. And as is your act, is your destiny. Now, simply put, this basically means that the most significant lesson and everything that we do begins in our heads, and it begins as an idea. And if we believe in that idea strong enough, believe me that everything is possible. It's the conviction that breathes life into an idea and makes it a living thing. In our events, when we are faced with the kind of questions that I'm here to answer today, it's at the end of the day an idea. It's an idea that you thought, something that would cost something. A creative is actually just an idea. And therefore, it's up to you and your conviction of how to make it a reality. Many years ago, we got called in as an agency to Mumbai now, which was, and there was this, he's probably one of the largest stockbrokers in the country. We were told that, and there were stories that preceded him, oh, you know what, he lives in a gold tower, and he has a gold bed, and he has gold nuggets for breakfast, and all kind. His bathroom, I won't get to the bathroom part of it. I mean, you get the drift, but that's exactly what I was told. So we went with these preconceived notions of who this man was. I got a new suit, went to the barber, got my beard trimmed, did everything that I did today before coming here. And we went there and went and walked in, and he had this beautiful office overlooking the sea and in a really tony part of Bombay. And when we went there, and as we walked in, of course, to intimidate you, they had multiple points where they had people coming and looking you up and down and saying, all right, you look okay, you can walk in. And we felt like the men in black, walked in with our suits and went in. And this gentleman was standing there in this huge office, probably the size of this room. And the first thing he said is, oh, you know what? I've heard you're very expensive, and I don't have the money. So that was even before the good morning. So I was like, all right, so that's essentially. Now he went on to ask me, the briefing was very simple. He had already told us, he said, we want something which is, give me something that no one's ever seen before. It's my nephew getting married. He's my favorite nephew of my favorite brother, and this and that and the other. And we went on to that. And then we proceeded with, they say that every man, behind every successful man is a woman. And sure enough, the ladies did emerge into the meeting. They oohed and ahed at everything that we presented to them as creative ideas. And then they went back and said, your job, or his job rather, is to earn the money. Our job is to spend the money. So we thought we had the upper hand, and we said, hey, this is a great thing. Now they said, we want all of these, but at the end of the day, I don't have that kind of money, and we need to reduce the budget. So we left confused. Now, if this man didn't have the money, who did? And we went on to say, okay, we'll get back to you. And as I came back to my hotel room, I got a call from him. And he asked me to come and see him in private. He asked me to come in that evening to his residence. I went. He was sitting there, a changed persona from what he was in his office. And he sat in his pajamas, having a drink. He offered me a drink. So we sat down. And he said something to me that again, like that book, has stuck with me. He said that nobody understands that I wasn't born with all of this. I've earned it. I have slept hungry. I have worked hard. I have lost many of my dreams, and then I made this money. And today, for a wedding or an event, everybody is expecting me to not be who I am, but expecting me to fulfill this persona that people believe I am, and they want me to come and spend this money. So you need to help me. So I went back. I learned one very important lesson that day, that money is money. There's nothing called too much. There's nothing called excess. It's money for the people who have it, and it's money for the people who possibly want it. But there's no such thing as excess. At the end of the day, it is a value proposition. It's about what you leave them with and what you give them in terms of that value proposition. My next part. Do you know why a dog wags its tail? It's because the dog is smarter. If the tail was smarter, it would wag the dog. What I'm trying to say here is that, life tests you in unique ways. Now, this room is full of leaders. It's not my job to come and preach anything to you, but what I really want to actually say is that, all of us very often are questioned. Why should we give them this? I had a call in with my team yesterday because we were on the flight and I didn't have access for a while. So when I landed, they were in a big presentation, and one of the big things that they said is, they're bullying us. They want it all, but they don't want to pay for it. And I just felt that I think this is something that all of us have gone through at some point of time. This question that either we ask ourselves or people ask of us. Why is it that we need to give them this? They don't have the money, let's not give it to them. But the question is that, at this point of time, what I'm trying to do is, let's define the role of a leader for 1 minute. Let's define your role in this entire convention. Why are you here? Everything is possible. Everything is also negotiable. There's no such thing as a status quo. Things can change in a matter of seconds. We just made an amazing tribute to the victims of the war. And look at what it's leaving the world with in this day and age, in year 2022. Look at how things. So things can change overnight. Our jobs are to face an emergent situation, not as it is, or not as it should be, but as it is. We need to give them the best solutions because they come to us for a reason. Our clients come to us knowing very well that they might have the money, they don't have the money, they want the best value for that money. They come to you for a reason. They come to you because they know that you have the power to make it happen. You have a reputation to protect. Over the years that we've all worked and done service to each other, the fact is that, the reason that we've built constituencies, we've built relationships with people, and they come back to us time and time again only because they believe that we are the ones that can make it happen. So I don't feel that at this point in time, I'm going to answer that question. I don't feel that a budget really can curtail creativity, but I do feel that at some point of time, it does help you to fuel it. Also, let's understand the power that you hold. Clients come back to us for who we are, for what we do every time. You've got, whether we've all faced the last 2.5 years of the pandemic. There have been a lot of people who've downsized. There are a lot of alliances that have been formed. People have slowed down. People have made all kinds of changes to their organizations. It's all about a decision. So is a budget. So is the budget and creativity. It's about a decision. It's about where you stand there with your client and really understand which one are you going to give them. Are you going to give them value for money, or are you just going to give them a really good show at whatever they want to do? You have the power to conceptualize. You have the power to visualize. You also have one very important part. You have the power to influence your supply chain because you are the leader. They look up to you. Sometimes you can stand there, and creativity and magic is not about only the money that's being spent. Sometimes you yield that power that you have. You can put it out. You can make people understand that, all right, just this once, or because my suppliers are with me and we are one conducive force, we are going to sit down and let it happen. But at this point, also understand that with a sense of renewed success time and time again, there comes a sense of overachievement. We all think we become greater than who we are. Let's also understand that there is a difference between our ambitions and our capabilities. Let's not get frustrated by trying to think that we can do something which we might not end up you cannot afford to do it. So at that time, you have to understand what you really can yield. Sometimes you need money to make magic, sometimes you don't. But at the same time, money is not the only thing that can influence creativity. We've all heard of CSR. We've all heard of corporate social responsibility. How many of us sit down and look at that? What are the kind of materials we're using? Are we recycling? Are we reusing material? Today, with the way the world is shrinking, with the way things are happening, there's a lot of onus on the use of materials we as an industry can do. The reusing, the recycling, plastics, paper, wood, the whole aspect of going digital today to saving invites. There are continents and continents of landfills today that are filling up, and there's no place to put out these plastics and stuff, which we so easily use one time at our events and forget about it a second time. Today, I'd like to really get you to commit with me that we as a global agency, as a global organization, as IMWF, and we've all come together, we should also try and understand that it's not as easy as just saying that, okay, it's only money, it's only creative. It's all these materials that make a big difference. If we can commit ourselves and put it out there, I think we've got a very strong message that we can send, not just through ourselves and our teams, but everybody else who's going to see it on social media, who's going to be watching it live, who's going to hear from us. It's very important that we do. We've made green events today a fad. It's become a very, very important aspect that people look up to and say, oh, it's very expensive. It's not expensive. It's only expensive because we make it expensive. I think the truth is that we need to sit down and really understand what we can do. We talked about aspiring to be. Marisha just told us about, I think the biggest cause today is at this platform, let's all aspire to be better event planners. Let's also aspire to make a change for the world, for the global event industry. And let's try and see that how can we continue. In my closing, I don't think that we've got to get influenced by clients and what they want from us. As long as we can let creativity continue to be intelligence, having fun, as long as we can respect the fools in basically not holding grudges against them for the kind of money that they don't want to spend, let the dog be smarter than the tail. And let's all partner to collaborate and make this entire industry into something that we can really aspire to be. I don't feel that there isn't really an answer. It's exactly like the chicken and the egg. I think it's all about understanding who you want to be, who your client is, what your situation is, and that's a call that you need to take. That's not something I can answer for you. That's not something I'm here to answer for you. I think it's a topic that's going to stay evergreen. It's a topic that's going to stay with us for all time to come. It's something that we will all have to answer for ourselves. So thank you very much. Thank you.